All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town. Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
What was that ruckus? What ruckus? I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Describe the ruckus, sir.
Does this mean we're not friends anymore? Not me. I'm in my prime.
You're out of your mind. Ain't it cool?
First you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow. Good. Bad. I'm the guy with the gun.
What's up, everyone? Sorry about that. DJ Nubis here with your Meltdown Radio podcast with another movie review. This time I'm doing 2024. It's The Crooked Man by Hellboy. 2024, directed by Brian Taylor and written by Mike Mignola, Christopher Golden, and Brian Taylor himself, based, of course, on the dark comics of Hellboy. And just again, my history with Hellboy is that I'm not a big comic book person. So I know that my good friend Kevin Lambert of the Entertainment Headquarters, he comes at this a little bit differently with this film and this series as I do, because he's a comic book guy and he's a big Hellboy fan. So my only interaction with Hellboy is actually what started with Ron Perlman back in the mid-2000s. So this time around, this is the second reboot. We had one in 2019, which I think I was about 20 minutes in. I said, I can't watch this. It was so god awful. I think that one had David Harbour playing Hellboy, who I do like as an actor, but it just didn't really do anything for me in terms of like the overall feel. In this case, we have Jack Kesey is playing Hellboy. He's the one that's playing Hellboy this time around. Jefferson White playing Tom Farrell. Jefferson White, I actually remember seeing him in the series Yellowstone, which he was really good in that, and he's actually pretty good in this film too. Adrian Rudolph, Joseph Marcel, and Leah McNamara, who was phenomenal in this. She actually, I remember her from Vikings as well. So in this film, she's like the star of this movie. Leah is, as she's playing Effie Kolb. Anyway, this film basically starts out with Hellboy on a train, and they're transporting cargo, and he's got this woman, Bobby Jo Song, who is the rookie agent with Hellboy as a partner, basically helping transport, which is like kind of funny. Was they're transporting a funnel web spider that's been mutated. And it's just in a box that Hellboy's sitting on until all of a sudden it grows bigger and blows out of it. And then it gets out in the forest. The cargo train they're in, flips over into the forest area. And Hellboy notices that there's a dark presence in this forested area that they were passing through. The spider shrunk itself and got into a grate, which, again, out in the middle of the forest, we're like, what the fuck? And so at this stage, so they already are missing the cargo, which is on the loose. But then they run into some other issues where they run into some people at a little cabin, farmers or whatever they are over there, and they get told stories about witchcraft and witch balls and stuff like this. And so we come to learn that there's been some history of witchcraft in this area. And Tom Farrell, who is kind of ex-soldier, who encountered the Crooked Man, which is sort of like you basically would have to compare him to the Slender Man in some ways. Like it's just a very scary dude that's tied into a lot of magic that in witchcraft around the area. And Elfie, of course, is a young girl at the time that even when Tom was younger, was very much into witchcraft. And so she was trying to get Tom into it, and they both kind of practiced it a little bit, but Tom kind of bowed out of it because it was just too deep. And, you can, basically whatever you do in witchcraft comes back at you 100 times if you fuck around and find out. But she basically just kind of gave all herself to the dark side, basically. And so, again, we go through, I don't want to give the whole plot away here. I mean, it's a couple of years old, or at least a year old. But the good stuff about this film, and Neko was watching it with me a little bit when she was home. It's got great atmosphere. The plot is good. It's very creepy. Like I said, Leah was very fantastic as Effie. But that's kind of where it ends for me, because the issues that I have is that Hellboy has no charisma. None. He's like a very flat, uninspired character in this. And again, Neko and I were talking, it's like maybe a lot of this has to do with the fact that we basically grew up with Ron Perlman. That's our Hellboy. That's the guy we know. He's fun. He's charismatic. He has a blast, and he's a no nonsense guy. And that's the other thing that I realized about this film is that Hellboy in this one is just another dude. He is not like special. Can't do anything special. Gets his ass kicked quite a bit. I mean, he gets saved by a normal human being in this film. There is nothing special about Hellboy in this whatsoever, which is very surprising because despite, like, again, I know that Kevin's going to hate me, but Ron Perlman is a badass. He's like almost like the right hand to the darkest prince of fucking hell. And this Hellboy is just basically a homie. He's just homie clown. He's a goof. He's not even funny. It's not, they try to do some of that subtle humor in this, but it's just not funny. And the thing is, like, I know that when I was talking with Kevin when this first came out, Kevin was explaining to me this is how it's supposed to be written. This is supposed to be very dark, serious. It wasn't even gory that I remembered in this. But the problem is, like, maybe if you'd put someone like Ron Perlman in this one, it might have done well. Even if you took some of the comedy out, it might have still came off a little bit better because Ron's a much more seasoned and better actor, in my opinion, than this guy. It just came out very flat, uninspired. And the other thing is, like, his partner, Bobby Joe Song, like, there's times, like, the weird thing about this film is it starts out they're on the train and there's no prelude to, like, how he got here, like nothing. It just starts off this way. I'm like, what's going on? How did we get to this point? So there's already no lead up to it. Just kind of wants to jump right into it, but we don't know what it's based off. It's in 1959. We know that. But then we get scenes like where Hellboy is kind of like very nurturing in some ways with Bobby Joe. Like, he'll, like, when she's sleeping, he'll put the blanket up on her and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, we're supposed to think that or feel that he has some sort of deeper connection with her, maybe not romantically, but just in terms of like history. But again, there's no history to go off of. So it just there doesn't seem like there's any chemistry between the two of them in terms of like what they're trying to translate to the screen. And you know, some of the again like with the Crooked Man and everything, like somehow the Hellboy is again how he's born is a little bit different than what we saw before. I don't know if this is the more accurate version of it. It might be because it's supposed to be translated from the Dark Comics, but I don't know. Like, this is crazy to me that like the plot and the way that the script is designed could have been like, as Neko put it, a very good horror film, but not a Hellboy film. Like this would have been best written as something else, because everything else like is fine. It's just that you have Hellboy and he's supposed to be like this underworld badass, and this guy is just not it. Not a badass at all. And yeah, I just even when he goes to fight the Crooked Man, he's still kind of getting his ass kicked. I mean, it isn't until like the end where they have like a team of Bobby Joe's casting spells, and Tom is apparently this like badass witch that has the lucky bone that helps take care of Effie in some ways. But it's like most of the better scenes in this is really just from Effie Cole, played by Leah McNarma. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Sorry, but she's like the star. Like I loved her performance in this. Like she was believable. She was evil. She was scary. She was even a little bit funny, like just in the sarcastic manner that to which she was doing the character. I don't know, man. Like as like I kept, I didn't know. I knew when I saw the trailer way back when. I was like telling Kevin, I was like, he doesn't even really look like a badass. Like he's just so kind of thin for a Hellboy. And but again, Kevin's like, this is kind of like the way that this character, this movie, or this story is supposed to run. It's supposed to be darker. And they did go darker. Like again, the humor is just not really there. But I think that's the thing. Like if we had seen this film maybe back in 2004 and then saw the Perlman stuff, maybe we feel a little bit different about it. But I thought that Ron Perlman was amazing as Hellboy, and I liked the first two films that he's in. I'm happy they're doing a third one. At least that's the talk, to do a third one with Ron Perlman. So at that stage, like I'm happy for that. I feel bad for these guys because clearly they care about the source material. It's not like they're not trying. I noticed they put like $20 million into this film, but they only made $2 million. And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. Like I didn't go look to see how much. In fact, I'm gonna do that now just because I'm very curious. Oh boy. So the first one that was done, of course, Del Toro was the director of that one. They cost between $60 and $66 million on a budget, and they made $99 million. So not really blowing it out of the park. But then again, maybe because people don't really know much about Hellboy overall, maybe that's part of it. Second one, second one did pretty decent, 82 to 85, and it did 168 million box office. And then let's see about 2019, which I don't think did very good at all, to be honest. Neil Marshall, which is surprising because he did Dog Soldiers, but this one cost 50 million, but did 55. So this one in 2019 did better than the one from last year. And so, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for something fun to happen in this film, and it just never came. And the thing is, like, if you took Hellboy out of this, if you ever saw Edgar Wright's The Witch, this has a similar vibe. Like, you took out Hellboy and what he's supposed to be, and just made it like a spooky horror movie, it probably has that because it has like a slow burn vibe to it. But because he is Hellboy, you're just like, what are you gonna do something, dude? When are you gonna do something cool? And it just never happens. Rotten Tomatoes, they weren't very happy with him on this either. Critics gave it 36%, audience gave it 52%. For my score, I'm going to cut it down the middle. I'm going to get a 4 out of 10, which is about 40%. It's not a Hellboy movie for me. It's just not. I know Kevin told me he's looking forward to this review, but I think he's going to disown me at this point. But the reality is, this movie is god awful. It is just, it's not awful because the plot's awful. It's just awful because you've got some actors in here that aren't really seasoned. Like they're just going with some kind of like nobodies, or at least lower end of the acting spectrum, I guess, which hurts because it's not like I mean, maybe they were trying to rebuild the image of Hellboy by doing this film. I don't know if they were going to go beyond this. Maybe they still are, but with like only making $2 million off of a $20 million budget, I don't think they will. It says there's an action, horror, fantasy. There's no action in this, really. It's very limited. It's towards the end, but it's really kind of limited. Again, I hate it because I really love Leah in this. I thought she was so good. And it's such a waste of talent there with that. But yeah, that's where I'm at with this. I'm sorry if people like this. I just could not. It was just not working for me at all. And like, if he's supposed to be a badass, like it's just supposed to be a badass. And it really wasn't until the very end he actually did anything in this film. So, yeah, sorry to say, I wasn't feeling this, and Neko wasn't even though she's not here for the review, but she wasn't feeling it too much either. So, yeah, 4 out of 10 for Hellboy Crooked Man. I might have to go back and watch 2019 just to see if I can give it a rating because it did better overall compared to this. And so I have to wonder, like, maybe people were just maybe that's the reason. Like, maybe when people went to see that one, when this one got released, they said, no, you're not duping me again, brother. You're not sending me back out to the theaters to see another piece of shit show. And that's probably why they're thinking about bringing Perlman back, because that's where it's at. Like, whether or not Ron's version or the ones that Ron are accurate, the reality is people enjoy that. And that's really what it's always about. It's always about enjoyment and whether or not you can connect with the characters, can have fun with the film. Those first 2 Hellboy films are great and they're a lot of fun. There's a lot of great action in it. How accurate, I can't tell you. Kevin can, I can't. But the reality is it's all about entertainment, folks. It's really what it's all about. This just felt very flat for me and had some nice ideas, certainly, but just didn't connect with me on any real meaningful level. Coming up this week, obviously, later today, Neko and I are going to try to do our review for 311 from the concert the other night. I've been kind of under the weather the last few day or so. So I'm hoping I'm going to be getting a little bit better. I don't know if some of the medication I've been taking is kind of fucking me up, but later tonight we're going to try to do that review. I got a couple of unboxings. You can kind of see one of them behind me that I'll show even more detail when I get there. Got a Metalhead unboxing that came, and then of course we got some merch that came through 311 as well, the concert. Wednesday, Tony and I will be at it again with the Ghouls of Midnight. My pick is Beyond Evil. His pick will be a movie called Marshmallow. And then Saturday, I'm going to try to fill some things in there during the week, but I'm not sure what yet. Saturday, going to be getting with Jedi Granville for the review on Life Force. The movie Life Force, we're going to review that. And then later in the evening, Olvin and I for Silver Screen Savants, we are going to be interviewing Bobby Knippy Jr., who is getting ready to release a new horror film. He's a director and metal fan. Also did a movie called Grandma, which we're going to watch. He's going to watch. Elvin's going to watch. I'm going to watch, and we're going to talk about it with him when we go into discuss his new movie as well, just to kind of find out who Bobby really is as a director. So it's going to be a lot of fun. First interview on Silver Screen, so that's going to be fun to do that. Either way, let me know your thoughts in the comments and how you feel about The Crooked Man. Good concept, just bad execution. See you next time on the Meltdown Radio Podcast.